Another tweak that people are talking about is the extra inning rule. I love it. You know where my head is on that. I've told you. I wanted this extra inning rule for years. Man on second to start the 10th. I wanted a man on second and third to start the 11th. And I wanted bases loaded to start the 12th. The rule this year is simply a man on second to start the 10th and every subsequent extra inning game. Extra inning. Why has that worked? Well, there have been 7 extra inning games. 5 of them have ended in the 10th inning, 1 in the 11th, and of course, last night, the game ended in the 13th inning. That was Dodgers and Astros. The rule was put in place before COVID was suggested to be put in place, and why I liked it before COVID is that we are trying to accomplish 3 things in baseball. 1, improve the product and keep the action moving swiftly. 2, not put a team at a competitive disadvantage where they're forced to use the next day's starter because the game goes so long, or they're forced to make player moves they didn't want to make because they blow out their bullpen because the game went so long. 3, to appease to the TV networks who are the biggest partners of your team. They give the teams, each individual team's biggest client is their local TV partner. The league's biggest client are the national TV partners. And these TV partners do not want 4-hour games. No matter what broadcasters say, no matter what players say, I've spoken with the executives at these networks, and they are unanimous. They want time certainty. They know baseball can't be a time certain by definition because it's a game that doesn't have a clock. But if every game is between 2:30 and 3 hours and the occasional game goes over, that's okay. But when every game is 3+ hours, it's too long. It impacts their ratings. Now, don't tell me that ratings get higher at the end of close games, even if they're 4 hours in. That argument does not even hold a cup of water. So the extra inning rule was meant to accomplish those 3 things, and it has worked exactly the way it's supposed to. The one thing that was anticipated in the meetings in the competition committee, Joe Torre in those meetings, and I shared this with him, even though he and I did not agree on everything. And you heard that on our Samson sit down with Joe Torre. He and I had very strong intellectual arguments and disagreements about certain rule changes, about different ways that we thought the game was going. Where we did agree 100% is that extra innings was full of bad baseball. Everyone going for the home run, no one playing fundamentally sound baseball. By putting a runner on second base with no outs, it was Joe's hope and mine that there would be the expression, get him over, get him in. That teams would do that. Man on second, no outs, you bunt him to third, sacrifice fly home. You heard me on Nothing Personal when Kansas City did that. Cleveland, against Cleveland, the Cleveland players stood up and said it's an outrage losing a game without giving up a hit. It's the damn point. But what we're finding is that not all teams are playing small ball in extra innings. The Dodgers, Astros are a great example. Neither the Dodgers nor the Astros ever bunted a guy from second to third last night in the 10th, 11th, 12th, or 13th. Now, each team scored in the 10th, and the game had to continue. Then there was a 2-run home run in the 13th, a 2-run leadoff home run. Boog Shambi, who was the Marlins announcer back in 2003, is now a well-known play-by-play announcer in baseball. He said, it's my dream to call a leadoff 2-run shot. And so he did. So the game ends 4-2. Dusty Baker was asked, why didn't you bunt? When you're the home team and the score is tied and you can walk a team off with a man on second, no outs, you don't need to play for the crooked number. Bunt him over, get him in, execute, you win the game. You don't need to wait for the home run. When you're the road team and you know the home team gets a man on second also, I agree that in those circumstances, depending on who's up at bat, you may swing away, go for the home run, because you're worried that one run does not help you win. It only gets you a tie, assuming the home team will score that same one run. We would teach our players to bunt, ironically. I always was scared when pitchers would bunt because they'd hold the bat wrong and they'd break their fingers sometimes. But Dusty Baker said, why would we bunt? They weren't bunting. No one's bunting. We're going to have to look at that. The analytics people are going to look at that and figure out, after a much larger sample size, what is the most efficient, effective way to play in extra innings. And I promise you that baseball and its teams will find a rhythm, and that rhythm will dictate how extra innings are played, because I'm hopeful that this rule continues.